In this next video, I will give you a few tips and tricks to find people and information on the internet, information regarding businesses, regarding individuals, regarding vehicles such as a plane or a boat. So without further ado, let's look at aircraft and vessel registries. The thing to know is that in North America, generally speaking, if something happens to a small aircraft, so let's say a Cessna, a small passenger plane, in all likelihood, the plane will either be registered in Canada or the States. Thankfully, both the Canadian Civil Aircraft Register and the FAA Registry are available online. Generally, if a plane is from Canada, registered in Canada, you will see the CF for Canadian Forces or C mark. The mark is normally you can see it on the tail. We call it the tail number, but the real name is mark, and that number can be all elsewhere on the aircraft. The FAA registry is for American planes, and in the US they use the N number. In the UK, I think it's G, and so on. Vessels, again, need to be registered. Of course, a kayak does not need to be registered, but there are different rules and regulations. So we have the Vessel Registration Query System and the United States Coast Guard PSIX Vessel Search. I will put this PowerPoint in on Virtual Campus so you can explore those links. But let's say a small plane were to land on Highway 50 in Gatineau, someone takes a photo, and then on the photo, as a reporter, you're back in the office, you see some letters. Well, you could go to the Canadian Civil Aircraft Register, type in those letters, and hopefully come up with the name of the owner or the business which owns the plane. Business registries. Back in the day in Canada, you would need to go to each provincial registrar to find a particular business. Thankfully now you have a pilot project online, which is called Canada's Business Registries. So you can go there. It's a kind of as we say in French, guichet unique. So just one address where you go, and you can do a research on all of those registrars at once. Corporations Canada is for federally incorporated companies. So again, the PowerPoint will be on Virtual Campus. Explore those links. A thing to know is that in Ontario, you will need to pay to get information about companies. I had to do a search once, and it was like $130 or something like that to get information about a company at the federal level. So if you go to Corporations Canada, and in Quebec, it is free. So if you are doing a search for Ontario, it tends to be a bit more complex. If you're looking for the owner of a home, you can generally go in Quebec to the city's website, and you go to Rôle d'évaluation foncière. It will be in French, and by typing in the address, you can find who owns a particular house or building. Again, in Ontario, you normally need to pay for that. You could go to the clerk's office at the city or to the urban development office and normally or land registrar's office, and they will be able to help you out. But for businesses, those are the main two links you will need if you were to if you are trying to find the name of the owner of a particular building in Quebec. Just go to the city's website. Let's say Gatineau, Rôle d'évaluation foncière, type in the address, and you will normally get the address, the name of the owner for free. In the States, the links are here. How to find a phone number. White pages can be a great asset. Let's go back to example 1. You find the name of the owner of the small plane. You can use the owner's name and or address. Go to white pages. White pages are for people, Canada 411 for companies. You go to white pages, use reverse lookup, look at the address. Maybe you will come up with a phone number, and then you could call the owner of the plane. If the owner was involved in the incident, well, maybe the owner won't answer, but that's a good way of reaching perhaps their spouse. Or if you see that the plane is listed to a company, then you could use Canada 411 to find the phone number for that company. To find the owner of a house or building, as I mentioned before, you can look at land property records in Ontario. You will likely need to pay. I've got the example here, Registre foncier du Québec en ligne. So for the entire province, in Gatineau, you can go straight to the city's website and you will be able to find who owns a particular building. To find the owner of a website, you can use a tool like Whois. A few years ago, it was pretty easy. We could easily find the name of the administrator of a website. More and more people are asking web registrars to hide their name, so it's getting increasingly complex, but you can still try it. It doesn't hurt. To find a member of a professional order. That's very useful. Let's say you interview someone, they say they are a registered nurse. You want to check whether they are actually a registered nurse. You can go online and look it up. Professions like being a nurse, a doctor, a dentist, a lawyer are regulated both in Quebec and Ontario and in most provinces. You cannot just claim to be a doctor. When we talk about an MD, a medical doctor, you need to actually be licensed. You can check whether the person is licensed. Same thing for trades. So very useful links here. To find a university expert, look at the university's website. You might find the link to the professor's profile there. You can also contact professional associations. So if you are trying to track down the author of a particular study and you can't find the person online, well, if the person is a sociologist, call the Canadian Sociology Association. They might be able to help you out. The trick is to find information about the individual or the company or organization you're researching. So find more information to kind of profile that organization or individual so that you can perhaps gather clues from different sources. To find someone who spoke during a city council or committee meeting, you can go to the City of Ottawa's website, the City of Gatineau's website, go to council and committee meetings. You can go to committee agendas. So explore online. Let's say you know that about a month ago, some residents from a neighborhood attended a city council meeting in Ottawa to complain about a new housing development in their neighborhood, and you want to follow up. You could look at the minutes and you might be able to find someone who attended that meeting. To find a public servant at the federal level, you can use the Government Electronic Directory Services. It's an online phone book. I've called quite a few people using it. The interesting thing is that it shows you the organigram of an organization. So normally it will show you which department a public servant works for, and it will also show you their colleagues. So let's say I've had to do that in the past. A public servant was injured or died abroad, and you're trying to reach out to their colleagues. You can just go to JADS, find their name, and then look at the people they worked with. And you can always send an email or phone them up. Generally, people will either ignore you or get back to you saying contact media relations, but you might get lucky and someone will accept to talk to you. Same thing for Ontario, and you have the link to the City of Ottawa's employee directory. Same thing here. So my pro tips are to really try to profile your target. Once again, try to find out where the person currently lives. What's their hometown? Can you reach out to high school friends? Which school or schools did they attend? You can go to Facebook, and some people forget to lock their friends list. So you can look at the people they're friends with, and you can perhaps find the same people on LinkedIn. You might discover that they had recently sent a public message on a friend's wall, so you know that they were likely close. You might reach out to those people. You can create a list of all of an individual's social media profiles in order to find different elements of information. So maybe on LinkedIn, the individual will mention their current job. Maybe on Facebook, you will find some friends, and you really need to kind of like use details from different sources in order to create a profile of your quote target unquote in order to get as much information as you can to track them down. So a car crash happens, people die, it's very tragic. It is part of our job as reporters to reach out to their friends and relatives. How do you find those people? Well, if police put out a release saying here are the victims and they release their identity, you can then go to Facebook, try to find the victims, and then you try to track down relatives, friends, and colleagues. It's part of the job. You have to be to be delicate. You need to be careful in the way you're approaching people. Offer them your condolences, identify yourself as a reporter, and then ask whether they want to talk to you. Yes, people will turn you away, but now and then people will agree to talk to you. And you can always, approach people by saying, listen, I know you're going through some tough times right now. My condolences. Would you like to tell me more about your friend so that the public can learn how great that person was? And generally, people will agree to talk to you.